it's very obvious that Ukraine is not getting a good deal over recent interactions between Trump, Zelensky, and Putin. If Mr. Zelensky deals directly with Mr. Putin, is there a chance for Ukraine to be in a better position than where it is now? I mean, no further gains for the US. At least they'll have what all resources left to themselves, and Ukraine remains unexploited further. Look, Ukraine is in no position to dictate what kind of deal it gets. Please understand that. Let me bring a tweet of Mr. Trump to your attention. Okay, where can I find that tweet? Okay, here it is. I'm gonna put that on the screen briefly. Yeah, here we are. Shares. Okay, here is the tweet by Mr. Donald Trump. It's a tweet from 2013, and this is what he said. Remember the golden rule of negotiating. He who has the gold makes the rules. This is wisdom. These are words of wisdom by Mr. Donald Trump. He who has the gold makes the rules. Now, does Ukraine have the gold? Ukraine has zero leverage of any kind. And that's why Ukraine is in no position to decide what kind of deal it gets. Obviously, it's going to get a poor deal. It's a helpless nation. Their president is apparently a drug addict who thinks he can go and be rude with everybody in the world. He's been rude with lots of EU leaders. He's been rude with Mr. Modi when Mr. Modi visited Ukraine. Uh, and Mr. Putin can't stand Zelensky. The two have history. They've met many times. Mr. Zelensky has been caught on camera mocking and laughing at Mr. Putin when Mr. Putin was giving a speech. So there's no question of Mr. Zelensky having the option of dealing at this point directly with Mr. Putin. No way that's going to happen. And there's no way Mr. Zelensky has now the option of dealing with Mr. Trump either, because Mr. Trump can't stand him now. Look at that. The two men who are in a position to determine the fate of his nation and his own life, he has completely antagonized them. So now Ukraine's fate will be decided without the involvement, even nominal, of Mr. Zelensky. He can protest all he wants, but what's going to happen is going to happen. What happens to Mr. Zelensky long term, we don't know. I in previous episodes would have said that maybe there's a possibility that Mr. Zelensky will take his illicit billions of dollars that he has siphoned off, and he may go and live in California or something. That option is off the table now. The US no longer will welcome Mr. Zelensky. So eventually, when things settle down and Mr. Zelensky is no longer in power, which is going to happen sooner rather than later, regime change, what's going to happen to Mr. Zelensky? Will any EU nation give him asylum? We'll see about that. So, yeah, Ukraine gets a bad deal because it's a nation that's helpless and non-sovereign. It's not a sovereign nation. So the two sovereign powers will decide what happens to Ukraine. Ukraine is going to be partitioned. And after the partitioning is determined, the parameters of the partitioning and the lines on the map are drawn, there's going to be a regime change in Kiev. Let me tell you this today. There's going to be regime change in Kiev. And Mr. Zelensky is in no position to prevent that from happening. And he'll be very lucky, Mr. Zelensky, if he gets asylum in some nation and can make his way there safely. So, yeah, that is the deal. Ukraine is going to lose a lot, unfortunately, because of the choices made by quislings like Zelensky.